Having a structure for your show can set expectations for listeners and can serve you whenever creating or producing your show. The structure of your episode will determine what we'll include in each episode. Once you've decided on a topic or style or format, determining the segments in your episode will be much easier. The three most common components or segments found in most podcasts are intro, show content, and outro. Let's take a look at these segments and a few others you may want to consider as you're creating your podcast. Recurring introduction. A recurring introduction can set the tone for your podcast. This helps establish your podcast identity and brand. We'll get more into the practicals of creating this intro section in the branding section of the course. Your intro doesn't have to be long. It can be simple as your name and the title of the show, or it may include an additional element such as a catchy tagline for the podcast, maybe a little bit about your credibility to discuss the topic. Think of this as your elevator pitch or really the theme of your show. What's it about? If you plan on featuring guests on your podcast, you'll want to introduce them at the beginning of the episode so that listeners have some context of who they're about to hear from. I'm of the belief that the more engaging you can make this introduction, the better. And by engaging, I mean not just reading off their list of credentials from their website bio. Stick with the highlights of their background so that you can get more quickly into the good stuff, which will be your conversation with them. This is your chance to hook the listeners and get them excited about the upcoming episode. Optionally, you can add an episode teaser or a pull hook from the interview to hook your listeners. If you don't have an interview-style podcast, take some time to set up the episode or topic that you'll be covering. This allows your listeners to know what to expect in that particular episode. Show content. The episode or show content section is usually the main section of your episode. This section will include the main value for your listeners. There are not per se typical items that you should or shouldn't include in this section. It could be an interview with a guest, a monologue recording, where you walk listeners through a particular topic or story, or a conversation on a particular topic with a friend. This part of the episode may be broken up into multiple sections. It may just consist of a voice recordings with no other elements, or you can utilize sound design, music, and other effects to really bring the episode to life and immerse the listener. Consider incorporating an ad segment or a sponsor message into your podcast in some way. This may be a pre-roll, a mid-roll, or a post-roll segment where you feature sponsored content or promote products and services. Ensure that the ad aligns with your podcast theme and audience to maintain relevance and authenticity. If you have your own product, use this as an opportunity to promote it here. Similar to the introduction, develop a consistent way to end each episode. This provides a sense of closure while leaving listeners eager for the next episode. Thank your audience for making it to the end of the episode. Where do you want to point listeners? How can they help you? And what will bring you the most value? Subscribe to your show. Share it with a friend. Write a review. Optionally, you can share what's coming up next. Share when people will hear from you again. Tease out the topic of your next episode. It's pretty common to include a call to action of some kind, and there are many ways that you can do this. You can provide resources where listeners can access more info on a discussed subject matter. You can ask your guests where listeners can find them if they want to explore their work further. And also encourage listeners to follow, subscribe, and rate your show. Make this request personal, explaining how their support really matters and helps spread the word. Provide links to your social media platforms, and invite them to ask questions or suggest topics for future episodes. One pro tip, to increase listener retention, look for ways to keep them hooked on the show. Assign homework, tease out the next topic, or create a sense of anticipation for upcoming episodes. Incorporating these segments into your episode can create a cohesive and engaging experience for your listeners. Don't be afraid to experiment with different styles and segments and tones to keep your audience engaged and eager for more. Every show will have a unique intro and outro, and there's no right or wrong structure for your podcast. At the end of the day, create a structure that represents your unique style and that appeals to your listeners. Be creative and experiment as you find your preferred structure. This framework is designed to give you a bit of inspiration and clarity on what you could include.